to do a video on this because I feel like an aspect of colorism that people don't like to address. There's so much of the situation with Chrissy, dark skinned black woman, crying their freaking eyes out about how the dark skin, blah, 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 blah. Now, when we deal with the light skinned black woman, we have a situation where they generally don't get all their dirty laundry all put out like that because there's dark skinned black women putting their laundry out like they do. They pedestalize women who, are, I guess to them, better than them or something. From my perspective, it's always been, you know, considering I'm on the lighter end, I generally find that I am not one of those who specifically cares about skin tone so much because of the way I'm treated. And I talk to my brown skinned brothers and sisters about this generally. That, the way you're treated, whether you're lighter or darker, shows that colorism doesn't exist. This is why I don't give much credence to colorism crybabies, because I know with tanning what happens. I know when I don't tan what happens. And I know that all in all, it never is about skin tone. I could tan as much as I want to. To be perceived as one race or another race, it's not about my skin tone, it's actually pertaining to my facial features more than anything. This is what light-skinned people hate to talk about, is facial features. Now, the reason I'm talking about this in this video is because it's this one specific content creator that I've talked about in the past. We've had our beef and all that stuff. That's not what I'm here to talk about in this video. I'm talking about the fact that people like this don't really like to address the reality of their race. They'd rather deal with their skin tone because it's the one thing they got basically in common with other races. And I mean, no, the thing that sets them apart is their facial features. So, like in the case of the person that lost, she did a video basically on her DNA results. And she tried to say that that made her mix, which was funny to me. It's like, I never understood why she says she's mixed when she looks just the same as Crystal Swaros. I mean, like, literally, there's no phenotypic difference. Um, but, I mean, we don't even have to go with what I think, honestly. I mean, like, honestly, with the whole situation with her, it's kind of like, I noticed that she did a video on race play. You see, a sex worker like her will know what kinds of sex work a sex worker like her would get. See, someone who's a sex worker, not as a black woman, won't know that white men and other races of men sometimes ask black women and black men to do different forms of race play. That's how you know. Right there is right how you know. You don't and you aren't perceived as another race. I'm just saying. And the thing is about that is, with sex work, the women who are perceived as white get the most money. This is why she wishes so bad she was mixed. But mixed isn't going to get you more money because mixed is still seen as black. This is why if you look at ebony porn, who comes up is black and mixed. Because when we talk about men as a population other than black men, we are talking about black women, which are black or mixed women for that matter. In her case, obviously, she's just black. She's not even mixed. She tries to push that she's mixed in hopes to get more money for her sex work. And, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. And, I've seen, I think, one of her, I don't look at her, I don't watch her videos. I saw her, what's it called? Her sticky, I guess, her avatar on one of her videos. Um, and it specifically was showing her twerking. Um, and I mean, that kind of behavior is what's asked of sex workers who are black. That kind of thing. The whole big, beautiful woman thing is the black woman thing on sex work. Now, if you're more of a petite Asian woman or white woman, and that's what you market as a sex worker, you get a whole different type of setting as a white woman or an Asian woman as a sex worker than a black woman. That's how you know society as a whole. And I understand sex work is obviously not the like regular life, but this it's a perspective and the perception of white men, Asian men, other races of men and women who see light skinned black women. They see them as black women. And I guess for me, I've always found it's easier with um, taking more of a, ambiguous phenotype than that, obviously. Because it's just like you get paid more, obviously, if you're a white woman than if you're a mixed woman. Now, obviously, using her face, you would never be able to use her face on any level. You could put eye contacts in her eyes, you could put blonde hair on her head, you could contour her face 3 times over, and she's never going to look like a white woman. She's never going to look like an Asian woman. She's never even going to look like a Hispanic woman, unless we're talking about a black Dominican woman. So that's how you know that in the industry, you're not being treated like anything other than a black woman. And the reason you're not being treated like anything other than a black woman is because of your face. Skin tone doesn't really have a big bearing on that. This is why, for me, like, I think I've said this before with the whole thing. I do, or I plan to do work with, like, phone stuff. Not really, I think she's a cam girl, isn't she? But I don't do anything like that. I just do phone. Um, but you know, the thing is about that is like with sex workers, really, I mean, like, I understand why they would want to be more white, I guess you could say. Yeah, I mean, like, there is money to be made with race play, even. I mean, like, I've always been pissed off. White men will ask black women for, race play and all that stuff. They wouldn't ask that of a woman who doesn't look like a black woman. They just don't. And don't ask me how I know, because that will just trigger many of the audience. But they won't. They only ask that of black looking women. And they will only ask that of black looking women like Bossy. And darker skinned black women too. And it's not just being a darker skin, though, like I said, it's about having the facial features of a black woman. This is why, you know, Crystal Swirls talked about being a black woman dating white men and how they were interested in her as a black woman. When she was a sex worker, she worked in a black club. It did not have anything to do, it didn't matter that, you know, Crystal Swirls was lighter skinned. And I didn't say light skinned, I said lighter skinned. Neither of those individuals are actually light skinned. To me, light skin is Tisha Campbell, yellow bone. I will say it again, my cousins are light skinned, in my opinion. Brown skin, okay, light brown skin, whatever to be nice to the darker brown skinned people is like, Crystal Swirls and Bossy and all those people. But the point is, you know, Crystal Swirls, she was in a black club. She didn't have any problem being in a black club. You know what I mean? She was fine as she was. You know? So to me, I just think like it's just weird to me that people often try to act like, being a lighter skin or, a person who isn't even mixed because they're not even 70 something percent black, they're like 80, over 80% black, that they're still mixed, but society isn't treating you like you are a mixed person. They are treating you like a black person. I don't even think they treat you like a mixed person. Because I mean, like, if we were thinking like mixed, what are we talking about? Sometimes white people think of mixed as like Chelsea Gilligan mix. That is what they consider more so like a mixed person. Like, very ambiguous. She doesn't look white. She doesn't look black. She looks right in between. Someone like Crystal Squirrels is not being treated like a mixed woman. And someone like Bossy is not being treated like a mixed woman. Even if they are treated like mixed people, they're still going to be treated like black people by these people because that's what white people do. That's just what they do. And I mean, if you want to appeal to white people on a grander scale and get out of, being like fetishized or like seen a certain way, monetarily, you'll get more money, obviously, if you're not seen as black than if you are seen as black, even as a sex worker. That's just how it is. Um, but, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that she has to make herself look like a white woman. I don't think she can. And I think she's probably doing fine for herself as she is. But I'm just saying that that is a good example to show that she's obviously just a black woman. DNA test proves it forward. She knows it. Her personal experiences show it. And that's another thing I wanted to extrapolate that outside of Crystal Swirls and Fossey. Um, I wanted to point out that even on a grander scale with mixed race people who actually are mixed race, not black people, who are like 50-50, I guess you could say. Many of the time, they know in their regular lives that they're treated like black people. They're not really treated like mixed people. And that's just because it's a big overlap in the black community. There's black people who look just like mixed people who look like black people. How the hell are white people supposed to split us apart? It's impossible. It really is. That's why someone 83% black, like Crystal Swirls, or, Bossy, or myself, can look just like a biracial person who is 50-50% black and white, you know? And, I would honestly say, you look at Jessica X, for example. Jessica X, I don't see how her features look very ambiguous. Her lips are very big, her nose is very wide, and her cheekbones are very high. I honestly think the beauty that Jessica X has is actually from her African roots. I mean, to me, what would make her pretty would be looking like an African queen. That's how I see it. Um, I say it's the same with Chioma. And you can say they're both Nigerian, by the way, so they have similar things going on. You know, and I'm not saying this because I like these people. I don't like these people. I've talked against Queen Chioma so much. Like, I don't think there's a positive thing I've ever said about Queen Chioma. I think, honestly, she thinks she's ugly. So what does it matter what I think? I think she's pretty. I mean, like, it really doesn't matter. She's the one with her face, and she doesn't like it. So, you know. But my point is, I guess I wanted to make the video because I kind of correlate, see a light skinned black woman like Crystal Swirls. And when I say light skin, I mean lighter brown, like lighter than a paper bag, okay? Crystal Swirls is lighter than a paper bag. Bossy is lighter than a paper bag. I'm lighter than a paper bag. Jessica X is lighter than a paper bag. You get my, like, I guess you could say barely light skinned people, or I don't know what we want to call these people, reds, caramels. But you know, my point is, I'm just trying to say, you can still understand that, like I said, there's not going to be, a distinction between the two. And I thought, like, watching some content or so, I saw her ethnicity results, and it's just like, to me, it's like, you can see, like I said, there's really no difference between the mix and the black because it just isn't. Now, honestly, if you think of the reality of the situation, maybe someone who is in their 80 percentile of blackness, look at it, think of it this way. So, someone who is 50% black with someone who's 100% black, they've always said the children who come from those unions are called Grits. Grife. And basically, the percentage range that can come from someone of that background is between 65 and 85% black. That means that all the people I listed, basically, Crystal Swirls, the other chick, um, I think Cynthia G even claims that she's like 80% black. Tyra Banks, Chris Rock, the phenotypes range. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like got cut off there, but mainly, yeah, it's just like, it's a matter of genetics, and sometimes some people look like their mother or their father, so it wouldn't be too shocking if, like, For example, somebody had a parent who is, 50% black, but another parent that is 100%. Of course, some people are going to look like the mixed parent, and some people are going to look like the black parent. Think of somebody who is 83% black, for example. They fall under that 65 to 85% range. So they are basically a combination of parents generationally who are the product of a biracial person and a black person. So some people will look like the biracial side, some people will look like the black side. But with that in mind, the average black American is 78% black. So if you're 83% black, you're more black than the average black American. Obviously, that doesn't make you mix, obviously, in our society. And this is why mixed people do not get this specific sector of being mixed specifically. Because, especially if you're 50-50, because if you are half of what black Americans are, you're usually less than 40% black. So if that's the case, you're a small percentage a smaller percentage of black than even someone who's 50-50. You phenotypically might look more like, for example, a Chelsea Gilligan than someone like Crystal Swirls or someone like Bossy. Those people would more so look like a Barack Obama. Those people are more, like the 50-50 type, like Jessica X. So that's why, to me, 50-50 is not really black, not really mixed phenotype, because 50-50% black and white is a typical combination with black Americans. Many black Americans have 50-50 in their genome, even if they're not 50% black, because we're multi-generational mixed people. Therefore, that's why, you know, I don't feel mixed race people and black people are different, really, racially on that level. I feel like mixed race people are different when they're a quarter black, like Chelsea Gilligan, for example. Chelsea Gilligan is a quarter black. Um, See Bud, or something like that. She's a YouTuber. She's less than a quarter black. She fits in between. She's not really white looking. She's not really black looking. She's an in betweener. Um, Someone else, Ashley Madekwe, is another one who's like 25% black. See, people of this phenotype, Maya Rudolph, for example, they tend to be in between. They're very ambiguous in phenotype. They can't really even play black roles that well. Someone who's a mixed race person usually can play black roles, just lighter skins sometimes. So that's why, to me, my perspective is that, someone who is of a lighter hue, who is a light skinned black person, for example, and, you know, you could say maybe a light skinned black person like Crystal Swirl or the other girl, they, I think, have like 4C hair, so they say the real black hair, but there's plenty of people who don't have 4C hair. Like for me, for example, I don't have 4C hair. I guess I never really thought of such a thing as having biracial hair. I guess, to me, if I had to choose what biracial hair was, I would think biracial hair was 3B hair. I know, though, black people have seen my natural hair on Twitter, and they thought my hair was not specifically black hair, especially when I comb it out. You know, so I guess they kind of see 3C hair as not black people's hair or 4A hair as not black people's hair. My hair is a mix. The top of it is 3C, but most of it is 4A. I would say my hair curl pattern is more of a 3C at top, but it, like on the edges and like the back and close to the crown, it's 4A. That's why it's harder to straighten my edges and everything, but it's easier to straighten my crown. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like that doesn't mean that you are mixed if you have non-black people's hair. Because I know some people will try to say, okay, light skin, but they are black people who are light skinned who have, you know, regular black women's hair. But there are black women who don't have that hair type either. Like I said, it's you have to think, like I said, if you have one mixed parent and one black parent, and that's what basically anyone between 65 and 85% black is the combination of a mixed parent and a black parent, basically, then you will have people who, have a phenotype that might be more similar to mixed people. And you'll have people who look like Chris Rock and Don Cheadle, that look more of a full black phenotype, and they are less black than Bossy, for example. They are less black than Crystal Swirls. They're like 80% black, 81% black. Yet, um, they're a lot darker skinned, and they have, well, basically it. They're just darker skinned. I mean, phenotype wise, I would say. I guess you could say, Don Cheadle, does he have a wider nose? I guess, kind of. I would say Bossy and Crystal Swirls have very wide noses. Honestly, I would say they probably are equal. Probably. Maybe Don Cheadle is a little bit. Chris Rock might be a little bit more phenotypically in his features, facial features, more ambiguous. But my point is to say basically, this, idea that the phenotype of the mix, lighter skinned, you're going to be treated differently. That's not true, obviously. And you can see these people are usually in black spaces, accepted in black spaces. They're just acknowledged as lighter skinned, you know, and that's basically it. When they are dealing with other races, they're treated like black people. And I mean, like, they've specifically both tried to share that they're treated like black people. At the same time, you can hear that they wish they weren't treated like other races, like, I mean, black women. And, they both have the same ideas on, like, preference to be lighter, kind of, you can tell that. But I think that has to do with the whole thing of having a mother who is lighter skinned and having a father that is darker skinned. For me, I grew up with a darker skinned mother and my father light skinned. And so for me, my perspective was always that, light skin is masculine and dark skin is feminine. You know, that sharp, keen nose and the like nose plump and thin lips, long, narrow face. Those are more masculine. And a woman with a more round, high cheekbones, full lips, and like a soft round nose, like no eyes, and like no brow ridge. Those are feminine features. Darker skin, of course. So that's how I am. I think Afrocentric features are feminine. This is why I'm not attracted to dark-skinned black men, but I'm attracted to lighter-skinned men. And they can be black. I don't really care about someone's racial combination. I really don't. I lost my virginity actually. Well, uh, a lot of my virginity. Let's just say that. Not all of my virginity. But I did a lot of stuff with one guy who was like Asian, basically. And, I have the least attraction to men who are Asian. But to me, the way I see it is this: if you have an Asian phenotype, I'm not attracted to you. You have no Asian in you. But if you have an Asian phenotype, I'm not attracted to you. End of story. You can be Hispanic, white, I don't care. If you look Asian, I'm not attracted. You know, Um, same thing with black people. If you look like a dark skinned black man, I'm not attracted. But if you have black in you, if you're 100% black, but you look like what I like, you look like Shemar Moore, you look like Lucien Levescon, I'm going to be interested in you. That's how I see it. Yeah. And there are plenty of people who are fully black, by the way, that look like Shemar Moore, you know. Black people come in all sorts of phenotypes, so that's not very far for a black person to look like. But I'm just saying, like, you know, that's why I say, in total, when I say I don't prefer black men, I specifically say dark skinned black men because technically, yes, I could find black men attractive. I could be with a black man. I could be with someone who's Asian as long as they don't have that phenotype. It's because I don't hate people who have black in them, Asian in them, or Martian in them, for all I care. I mean, like, I don't care about your race. I care about what you look like if I can get it all, basically. If I'm attracted to you, basically. But, yeah, I know. I kind of went on a tangent there. I'll leave that alone. But my point is, yeah, I just don't see the difference, really, between mixed and black, really, you know. And I also think, like, if you understand that you're not being treated like you are mixed, then you have to move accordingly. And the same goes vice versa. When you are treated like you are mixed, when you are in society, when we're not talking about race and we're just living our lives, and people are mistaking you for other races, not out of malice, not out of even, well, maybe out of favor, I don't really know. But not out of malice or anything, not like a purposeful, strategic thing. It was just an honest, organic reaction to you. You have to move accordingly. And, you have to use that to your advantage sometimes. I do. You definitely use that to your advantage. If people can perceive you as another race and it benefits you at that time to look a different race, there's nothing wrong with that. I do not think, though, that, like, in regular lifestyle that you just down being black or down another race or anything like that. You know, I'm just saying, like, I'm talking more so like in the sex industry. Like, to me, I don't see anything wrong. And I mean, like, I've talked to some sex workers who play as all sorts of different ethnicities. If they can pass for it, they do it, kind of thing. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I just felt like that was an important piece and point that I wanted to make on someone like that. And I don't want to come off as someone who is coming off in a mean way towards that person because you know how I am. When I talk about people, I don't want to come in malice unless I'm like if there's something that I need to talk about that's in beef or something. But right now, I'm not in a beef or anything with that person. It's just like, you know, I just came across their content, and that's what kind of sparked the idea. Her and Crystal Swirls, Crystal Swirls, I've always wanted to talk about her racial background because it's like People always are calling her black and stuff, but if they were looking at her and they weren't listening to anything she said, they wouldn't know if she was mixed or black by looking at her. They just wouldn't. Especially when she wears her national